please come on stage, bring your panelists. You know, my name gets slaughtered all the time, Karsten, so come on. It's all love. By the way, those of you who don't know Karsten, he is what they call a baller in the analyst world. His exact title is Program Vice President of Visual Media, IDC. But he does this great little analysis every year on who's actually big in mobile advertising and how big they are. So with that, Karsten, the stage is yours. All this 80s, 90s. Keep me going. All right, Karsten, take it away.
Thank you. Does this mic work? Yeah? Okay, good. Well, hello everybody. Thank you for coming to our panel, Masters of the Multiscreen World. So we're going to spend the next 30 minutes or so to just have a little relaxed chat about multi-screen advertising, multi-screen marketing. And we've managed to put together a very distinguished panel. Just going to go through the names real quick and then give the guys an opportunity to introduce themselves. To my immediate left, Adam Soroca, Millennial Media, Mike Harris, DDP California, Irfan, Kamal, Ogilvy. So, start with you, brief introduction.
Good afternoon, I'm Adam Soroca. I run product and operations for Millennial Media. I came over to Millennial Media in the JumpTap acquisition, so this is my first panel as being a public company. So I have to caveat everything. And I don't want to go to jail, all those fun things. Millennial Media last publicly quoted numbers, 500 million uniques in the world, 170 million uniques in the US. And we've managed to bridge together 52 million users across the screens here in the US. And so this panel is going to be all about that piping and how it's used today and how it's going to be used in the future.
I'm Mike Harris. I'm the CEO of DDB, and the only person who really cares about that is my mom. I'm kind of embarrassed to say that I'm the CEO of anything. DDB is a big TV agency. If anybody watches Mad Men, Mad Men's kind of based on my agency. And part of the reason that I'm here is because we realize as agency guys that TV isn't the only way to tell stories anymore, and it's not the best way to reach consumers all the time anymore, so we're trying to transform a big old TV agency into a modern-day storytelling agency.
Hello, I'm Irfan Kamal. I work for Ogilvy, and I sort of sit in a cross-functional part of Ogilvy. Ogilvy is one of the few agencies that has a number of different disciplines within one umbrella. So we have PR, we have media, we have social, we have traditional advertising, and we have outdoor and action. So I sit at an intersection where we actually focus a lot on emerging technologies and social and mobile to see how we can tie everything together. It's a very exciting area for us, and looking forward to talking.
So, multi-screen advertising, multi-screen marketing. I have to admit, I'm not a master of the multi-screen world, so why don't we just take it from the top, and maybe you can each give me a brief, introduction to what's multi-screen anyway, and where are we at with multi-screen today? I mean, let's start off with a basic question first.
Yeah, I think there's different levels of complexity to multi-screen. The very simplistic is mobile as a complement to TV. TV is still a major pillar in media spend. So at its very basic level, what we still see are roadblocks, heavy ups that correspond to major events, Super Bowl, American Idol. And so you're seeing advertisers who complement their investment. You talk about $1.5 million in investment on a Super Bowl spot. Well, it's a very inexpensive investment to complement that and make sure that your brand and your products are ever present on mobile devices because everyone's sitting around the TV with their phones and their tablets. The next level of complexity is going to be connecting those devices together to be able to sequential message, frequency cap, and retarget. And that's where I think that the piping has started to come together, and the framework to put together the storytelling, which is not being done in a great way yet, but the piping is there to start to make these stories and engage with users across the screens in really innovative ways come together. So our approach to multi-screen has been to anonymously find users through logging information, so never touching the PII, but getting an ID, and then knowing that they have definitively touched our system across those screens. So it's not a probabilistic model, which tends to have really low efficacy, which leads to poor targeting, false attribution. But we do know that we have bridged together those 52 million users, and we see our advertisers starting to surface their target audiences, retarget them, and we're seeing real lift in terms of the engagement. So these users who have been retargeted across PCs, tablets, and phones, their engagement metrics higher 25 to 40% in terms of how they're measuring.
I think what Adam was talking about was storytelling is really important. Masters of the multi-screen world is, I think, a misnomer because I don't think anybody's mastered it yet. You work on big brands, Coke, Adidas, Nike, things like that. Not many of them are telling very good stories across all these screens, which is, in my mind, just crazy because I have a 15-year-old son, and when I walk in his room in the morning, he's sleeping with his mobile device and his tablet next to his head. He's not watching TV. And I think that there haven't been very many brands or entities that have figured out how to tell a really good story narrative across all of these screens that are important.
Yeah, I think to me, multi-screen really reflects the change in how consumers entertain and get information, consume entertainment information. So we've changed from this environment where everything might come on the television, and we're now in this environment where people see dynamic billboards, they see TV as part of their experience, but a lot of the day they're disconnected. So it's trying to figure out the consumer journey, how it relates to a particular area or an interest area, and figuring out what are the screens that they might see in the course of either making a decision or a day, or and this could be for a car manufacturer, it could be something that they see over months. For a casino, it might be something that they see, over the course of a day. So there are many different screens. It's really a way of thinking of touch points that people experience, and depending on the audience or the product, there are things that we should consider in how we tell stories, how we spend our media that need to be adjusted for these different screens. This is not being done today for the most part. So I think there's a huge opportunity here to do that and think about screens in as diverse as game consoles through to smartphones. So there are a multitude of screens. It's really important to think about how we diversify our spend, but link it into really good research around what the consumer sees along their purchase path towards a decision.
So there's one thing that actually struck me that I think all three of you touched upon, which is the big role of TV. So if you look at the media usage data, there's a lot of digital stuff going on online and mobile both. But from what you say, it seems like it's really still TV. Oh, and then there's also a little bit mobile and there's a little bit online. Is that still true? And if so, why is that?
I think it's true because of the structures that clients have, honestly. No mid-level manager who's buying media is going to get in trouble for buying a TV plan that's going to deliver a 70 or 75% reach and a 3.5 frequency. When we go talk to clients about ideas that don't have those kind of metrics attached to them, they start asking us about return on investment, and things start to slide out of the picture very, very quickly. So I think you've got a lot of clients that are saying, look, I know if I need to get a certain amount of reach and a certain amount of frequency, TV is the way to do it, and everything else is also kind of an idea.
You want to comment on that too?
I think TV still gets away with the lack of measurability. And mobile, I know the biggest reasons we hear why budgets aren't unlocked is because mobile is not accountable. So how do you get past that? You've got money flowing into TV. Mobile is becoming more and more measurable every day. There's some great work that's being done on attribution models, whether it's view through, whether it's last click, whether it's brand recall. This measurability is there. That should unlock the dollars, but I think it does come back to the agency structure. And it's taking time to shift. The gap between time spent and dollars is still massive and growing. And so we're going to have to break through that structure and help agencies see, okay, it is measurable. Okay, let's start moving some dollars. That's why I see so many people going after video and these rich media experiences. We got to address the 15-year-old son and the next generation that's sleeping with these devices. This is how they're watching their video content. They're not watching it on TV anymore.
I do think that when you take a look at big clients, they have to get a lot of people to buy their stuff. So that purchase funnel at the very, very top is, in the old days, is filled with awareness. And the place to go get a ton of awareness as far as a lot of big clients are concerned is through mass media. But I actually think that purchase funnel is dead. I think people are making decisions about how to buy things in really different ways. I think actually the number one key to making a decision for most people on a purchase is reviews on Amazon. So that purchase funnel starting with big awareness, it's over. And I just don't think that we as marketers have caught up to that yet.
Yeah, and I think a couple points I want to make here. One is that one of our clients' most successful programs last year was the Dove Real Beauty sketches on YouTube. And if you think about that, that's not a big TV program. It was a hugely successful program that ran on YouTube, which a lot of people watch on a variety of devices. So I think it's programs like that that start to, on a client by client, it's almost like winning battle by battle. You have to find the programs and the specific ideas that can transcend, that work within a non-TV environment and push those. So that's a perfect example of something that did extremely well because it was shareable, it was very easy to start a discussion around, which is much harder for a TV spot. So I think one, we're seeing these sort of breakthrough campaigns which are starting to change people's attitudes. The second is, we talked a little bit, we haven't talked much yet, but I'll just throw in on the measurement side, which is a key thing. Look, in the end, it is about changing awareness, attitudes, or selling products. So where is the measurement to suggest that multi-screen or non-TV first strategy works? We just haven't had the rigor there yet. We actually did one study in the restaurant industry where we found that people that were exposed, it was a panel-based study, so we had a panel of people that looked at all their interactions with a set of restaurant brands, and then we asked them, what was your consumption of food and purchase? We found that people that were exposed to multiple touch points, so not just TV, actually had 150 to 200% greater lift in intent to purchase. So what this means in terms of multi-screen is that if we're just doing one screen, we're missing this huge opportunity. I think the measurement has to catch up. I think people's attitudes and perceptions of the value of each screen and what, as we talk about what they can do in the purchase process are important, but it's a process of getting these proof points out and publicizing them.
The reality is that this is fairly new territory. You're talking about in the last year or so, this piping together to be able to reach users anonymously across the screens has been laid. And so some of the first waves have been about, okay, check box, I'm doing a cross-screen campaign, awesome, right? That's the first step. And now we're starting to get this, okay, well, what are the goals? How are we measuring? How are we going to unlock more dollars? How are we going to make that shift and prove that we've actually moved users through the purchase funnel? And we're starting to see sort of the next wave of advertisers come through. Where the first waves, I see some of the most measurability that we saw in the first year of this were the autos. The auto manufacturers, the OEMs, were really looking at some lower funnel activity that they were measuring into a locator, sign up for a test drive. Other brands were really just, hey, it's great that we're running on multiple screens and tell me if there's any sort of uplift. And obviously brand recall and watching click-through rate, that's the best visibility that we have. I think the next wave has started where we're starting to get tags instrumented across these screens, and we're able to see the impact of where we've moved users through in intent all the way through an actual purchase, and finding the optimal combination of serving ads for a particular audience and a typical or a target on each of the screens. If I serve ads to a user on their mobile device, do they just go purchase on the PC? Do they walk into a store? So the pipes are now in place to measure that, and we're starting to see some of these campaigns that we're running right now.
So well, actually, just to talk about